Hey everybody, how's it going? A lot of you saw my the slideshows that I've done in the past. I've done a few of them, different things. The last one was my career in photographs. This one is kind of similar to that. This one is similar to that. Just more of the places I worked, things I saw, people I worked with, that kind of thing, and not necessarily about me, but about them and other places. So here we go with another slideshow. I hope you enjoy it. This is from Steve Smollinger's book Tehachapi, showing helpers being switched out at Summit in 1973. This is the building that we were using in 1979 in Palmdale when I hired out to work out of. This is the June 1979 issue of the SP Bulletin, showing an intermediate being set on the project on which we were working. This is the cable plow we used on that project, and we were installing CTC from Mojave to Colton. We didn't use this for signal line. We used it for the approaches for crossings, and I got to operate this beast between Mojave and Palmdale. I took this picture in 1980 at Hayes Street in Tehachapi of these locomotives in a snowstorm parked on the line track. This is the 4449 going through Tulare at San Joaquin Street in 1984. This is from Steve Smollinger's book as well, a 10 locomotive consist in Tehachapi at East Bealville. This is the first derailment I ever worked in 1984 at Cliff. You can see the track kicked out, and this is where the spur track was. This is the Missouri Pacific Southern Pacific interlocking at Houston, Texas in 1984. These shots are all taken at the Hardy Yard in Houston, Texas. This yard is no longer here. I understand it's been developed with condominiums and apartments. This is the building that we did our signal training in. The office was in there, the classroom, taught by a guy named Wes Poindexter. This is the hump yard at Hardy. Wes took me around, showed me a lot of this stuff, and we had some free time. One of the trips I was out there. This is the roundhouse at Hardy Yard. It's a shame to think this is all gone, but I guess they didn't need it. And this is down in the signal shop. That's me on the left there. They used to invite me down to the barbecues they had once a week when I was out there doing training. This is one of Southern Pacific's Olympic special locomotives when they were helping sponsor the Summer Olympics in 1984. This is a westbound Santa Fe approaching tunnel number 14 on the Tehachapi. This is the old signals at the short siding at Woodford, westbound Santa Fe, 1986. These are some hot locomotives, or at least one, above Marcel in 1985. It's Rod Harris working the Adger at Marcel in 1985. This is a westbound Santa Fe going under the old signal bridge at West Waylong in 1985. Set of helpers going up the top side of the loop in 1985. And some SP locomotives coming around the east side of the loop in 1985. This is a guy named Angel. I can't remember his last name. He was in the track department. This was in 1986. One of the cabooses in their final days, 1986, at the bottom end of Waylong. This is shot from top tunnel 15 at a westbound BNSF emerging from tunnel 15. This is Dave Vanderpool and a guy named Rick, I can't remember his last name, getting ready to do a weld in 1986. And there's the weld as it went off. Weld and rail together. This is a picture I took in 1986 of an eastbound SP coming out of Tunnel 9 at the loop. This is a westbound Santa Fe at the Bealville crossover in 1987. And this is looking southwest from the Bealville crossover across White Wolf Valley. This is from the Bealville crossover looking north at a westbound Santa Fe between tunnels 1 and 2. This is a Santa Fe westbound at East Woodford, 1986. This is Steve Green, Jerry Baines, and myself in 1986 in the Tehachapi Depot. Steve and I were on the Tehachapi gang. Jerry was the maintainer. This is an eastbound Santa Fe emerging from Tunnel 5 in February of 1986. It rarely snows that low. This is a motor car waiting for a Santa Fe to go by at the Bealville crossover in 1986. This is a derailment cleanup from Tehachapi work train out there helping with it, and this was also in 1986. Another 1986 photo that I took. This is at Woodford looking towards the water tanks. This is Bob Hollett, the sand cut maintainer at the time. This is in 1987. He is sitting in Bill Stokoe's desk in the Tehachapi office. So westbound Santa Fe, or I'm sorry, an eastbound Santa Fe on the approach to Tehachapi Loop. This is a view looking down towards Tunnel 10 from Woodford Tehachapi Road in 1987. This is Jerry Baines and Bill Stokoe sitting in the Tehachapi Signal office in 1987. This is an SP with a UP in the consist up at the Tehachapi Loop, 1987. This is a SP eastbound winding through the cuts above Tunnel 8 in 1987. This is my old piece of junk 1984 Chevy maintainer's truck, broke down at Fleta in 1988. This is Greg Smith, Signal Tech, 1988, working at the crossing at Hay Street in Tehachapi. This is me and John Sparks, my buddy, goofing off in the Tehachapi Depot in 1988. This is the Super Bowl special in 1989, coming through the Tehachapi crossover. And that's Bill Stokoe watching it go by. And that is headed east toward Summit. John Sparks, being a goofball, in 1989, we're doing some tree projects at Woodford. And that is Pasquale Munoz and John inside the trees working while I'm taking pictures. This is the train we saw a minute ago, further around the loop with the SP and the UP in the consist. And this is the Bakersfield gang and some maintenance of way guys cutting trees out of the pole line and between Tunnel 1 and 2. This is Gene Phillips. He was a signal tech up there, and this was taken in 1989. This is Tony Gonzalez and Fernando Sanchez. They were both track inspectors on the Tehachapi. This is John Drake in Bakersfield, tying some stuff down on the trailer, a job we were doing in 1994. This is my old Chevy truck at the SEMA store. This was in 1998. This was in 1998, doing a big job, burying new cable at East Woodford. This is the Kelso Depot in 1999 before it was restored to what it looks like today. This is me in the cab of the 3985 Challenger in Cheyenne, Wyoming in 1998. This is Johnny Warm. He was the Nipton maintainer. We were doing some work down in Afton Canyon. And this is Johnny Warm and Jeff Anderson up on the poles taking out transformers the same day. This is the 3985 in 2002, getting ready to take off. I got to meet Steve Lee that day. And there it is, getting ready to pull out on the main line of the train. They were doing a test run to Laramie. This is my old 96 Chevy Beast at Van Ness Street in Fresno. And this was, I believe, in 2001. Boy, that truck was awesome. What a beast. Same truck. This is at Famoso, the south end of Famoso. This is at the OH Cruise plant in 2002 up by Tipton. This was a derailment at Caliente in 2002 on the Horseshoe Curve. They had stringlined that train. This was a derailment in January of 2002 at Illman. A bunch of hoppers full of bulk plastic. This was shot looking out of the Yardmaster's Tower in the Stockton Yard. And this is the same tower looking the other way. I can't remember which is north and which is south. This is the Colton Hump Yard looking from the Hump Tower in 2005. And these are the Hump Masters, I guess they're called, in the Hump Tower at Colton. This is the abandoned fuel racks in Bakersfield. I took this photograph in 2005. It's a nice little shot of the intermediate signals up around Traver. And this is me at Madeira in 2008 after a long, hard day in 108-degree heat running a trencher. I shot this out on a call at the Fresno Yard. This is my late friend Phil Silva with Jeremy Dury with his back to us in the signal training facility in Chicago. This is my 2011 Dodge work truck in front of the Bakersfield office. This truck was a piece of junk. This was an accident where a fatality occurred at Avenue 80 up in the San Joaquin Valley. A guy was out of this car and away from it, ran back to get something out of the car and was struck and killed. This is one of the zone gangs doing some work in Bakersfield where a truck had knocked over some pole line. This is 2015 when this was a pile of signals that we were getting rid of and had been taken out of service. All this stuff was scrapped. This is the former Yardmaster's Tower in Sparks, Nevada. It was still being used as a crew change headquarters. This is Sunset at Traver, California, which is just north of Tulare. Beautiful shot. This is the Kings River Bridge, just outside of Reedley, California, former Southern Pacific East Side Branch, now San Joaquin Valley Railroad. This is looking out over Tunnel 29 towards the Cyril's Yard on the Lone Pine Branch. This was the last photograph of the railroad I took before retiring in 2019. Well, there it is. I hope you enjoyed that. Share some snippets of my career, some of the cool things I got to see and do, some of the people I got to work with that I liked and didn't always like. But, all right, well, there it is. Here are the URLs for my PayPal and my Patreon. If you can help the channel out that way, I would sure appreciate it. Keep shooting me the ideas. Drop me comments below. Shoot me an email at motopoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all later.